I'm very, very delighted to welcome our keynote speaker for today, Lord Patrick Vallance. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here again at the Making the Future Work conference. Last time I was here, which was a year ago, the Institute was launching the Pissarades Review, and the government had just agreed to take forward all of the recommendations in the AI Opportunities Action Plan. Since then, I think it is the case that the UK has made real progress on promoting the opportunities of the technology and addressing some of the challenges. But I think you are absolutely right, and this conference is right, to highlight the fundamental questions of how this affects work and jobs. Last year, and for many years, I've been talking about what I see as the three risks of AI. The first being the impossibility of distinguishing truth from untruth and the difficulty of fakes, and that is, of course, a here and now thing that we're all dealing with. The second wave, I always thought, was to do with jobs and how that affects work and how we think about what the future looks like. And the third is what I loosely call autonomous harm, i.e. when AI can do things that you somehow can't control, and we don't know what's going to happen in that. But we are firmly in the second of those now, the question of what this means for work. And I want to commend the Institute for the new report, and I agree very strongly with the assessment that the impact is on how work is structured, how decisions are made, and how human skills are developed. This is not a technical issue. This is indeed a mix of technical problems, but very real social, human problems that we need to think about. So I want to talk today about AI adoption and what we're doing to ensure that workers benefit from this transition. We've set a goal to make Britain the fastest adopting AI country in the G7. And I think if we're going to do that, it has to be done well and it has to be done responsibly. The goal, or the prize, is pretty clear. The OECD estimates that the widespread adoption of AI could boost UK productivity through automation and augmentation to potentially to add up to 140 billion in GVA by 2030. So there's no doubt this is worth doing. Our 2025 AI adoption survey found the most common areas of AI adoption are in marketing, administration, IT, with over 75% of companies reporting improved productivity of their workforce. But, and this is a big but, we know from the Harvard Business Review report that the benefits from adoption of AI are patchy at the moment, and that very often pilots introduce what you rightly refer to in the report as shadow systems, things that run in parallel but are not yet truly embedded in workflows and systems. And the result is that for many companies and many institutions, the benefits are not as big as people think they should be, and for some who get it right, there is an outsized benefit. So really understanding and how to unlock the high growth adoption of the latest AI across areas is important, and we want to do that across the industrial strategy sectors and to tackle the key barriers around regulation, data, and access to finance to make that happen. We've appointed AI champions in the priority industrial strategy areas, and in June, we will be convening some of the top business leaders at a dedicated AI adoption summit at London Tech Week to discuss those barriers to adoption and find practical solutions that work for everyone. We want to make sure that AI adoption works hand in hand with human capability. We don't only want to do that, but that is an absolute necessity. Our aim is to ensure that AI boosts jobs and growth, and that we can support workers to adapt to what is going to be a significant AI transition. And that is irrespective of age, gender, or where you were born. In public services, I think we're already beginning to see how AI can complement human capabilities to make a real difference. And the area that I've followed probably most closely in this has been in health. And in the NHS, AI diagnostics are helping clinicians identify all sorts of things in radiology, particularly most recently lung cancer detection, making it much faster, to get CT scans to understand what they show. And interestingly, I think lots of people thought that in medicine, as AI is adopted in radiology, it will mean fewer jobs. Well, it turns out that's not what's happening. The demand for radiologists has gone up as a result of this, not gone down. And I think that tells us something about how we make assumptions about what AI is going to do, which is not necessarily true. The other one in the NHS, which I think is interesting, is ambient voice. It's an AI scribing technology, which ultimately allows doctors to spend about 25% more time directly interacting with patients. And I, a few years ago, said, when I was asked about what I thought AI would do in medicine, I said, I don't know, but one thing that I think it absolutely must do is to make sure that there's more time for doctors, nurses, and others to spend with patients, because that human interaction is very much part of the healing process. So again, the question is, how do we make sure that the ultimate aims we're aiming for as we adopt AI are properly realized? In fact, more widely, there's very little evidence at the moment that AI is reducing employment, but it is undoubtedly changing how we work. And to prepare for the AI futures, we've set up in DSIT the Future of Work unit to monitor and prepare policy responses to shape a future that works for all. The unit has published 2 assessments of AI capabilities and the impact on the UK labour market since its launch. And its expert panel includes a breadth of representation from industry, trade unions, and civil society, including Abby Gilbert from the Institute. Recognising the importance of AI's economic impacts, we're also setting up a new AI Economics Institute based on the model of the AI Security Institute, which has been a big success and was the first such institute in the world. That will incorporate the Future of Works unit, and we'll say more about that in the coming weeks. Of course, ensuring people have the right skills is probably the most powerful way to ensure that the UK workforce can actually take advantage of AI whilst preparing for these important impacts. And that's why we've committed to upskill 10 million workers with essential AI skills by 2030 through a program called AI Skills Boost. Since announcing that commitment, we've delivered over 1 million AI training courses to UK workers, and that's only at the early stages of this vital national campaign. And I'll say one other thing, which is that my view, and I've made this clear to DFE and to others, is that every single university course should have training in AI. I mean, it's not that we need people trained in AI, we need everybody to have an understanding of what AI is going to do in their field. So let me just turn briefly to the tech sector itself. In December 25, DSIT launched the Women in Tech Task Force to address barriers facing women in the tech sector. And we know that there are very significant barriers, and I'm sure we'll come on to that in the discussion. The group comprises 13 prominent and diverse experts and is co-chaired by the Secretary of State for DSIT and Anne-Marie, who I'm going to be speaking to shortly, and I'm sure we will pick up on this point. We expect to publish the findings from the task force's recent call for evidence on interventions to support women enter, stay and progress in tech at London Tech Week in June. We know that change is not just driven by businesses and individuals. We're also making strides to improve our institutions to be resilient to AI and to ensure that the benefits of AI are dispersed throughout the UK. And the example that I want to give is of Barnsley, the UK's first government-backed tech town. And I think what's happened there is a remarkable illustration of what can happen and what should happen. The entire town is now thinking about digital and AI. That means the schools, it means the colleges, it means the businesses, it means the public sector, it means services. And that's really making a difference because it's not something being done elsewhere by others, it's something embedded in everyday life. I think there's an enormous amount to learn from that, and there's an enormous amount there that can be applied elsewhere across the country. AI is set to create one of the biggest opportunities in a generation. we can only really take that opportunity, and we mustn't forget that there are really big opportunities if we get all these other things right. That's why it's so important. That's why the report that's been published is so important. And I think with the right action, AI can help people do more of what matters, the things that really do need humans, make work more rewarding, and expand opportunities for everyone, not just a few. And that's why I welcome this conference. I welcome what you're talking about today. And I think there's an urgency to have this debate and really understand what we do to get this in the right place. Thank you very much for your attention.